Slowman's wanting to get in.
Hello and welcome to the news and views for the EV Cafe. 30 minutes of what's happening in zero emission transport with expert analysis from the EV Cafe crew. Brought to you this week in partnership with Everything Electric, coming from the London XL from the 28th to 30th of March and featuring the EV Cafe Village. And today's opinions on a stick. Oh dear, there's a gender imbalance, big style here. But it's bald me, bald Paul. How are you, bald Paul?
I'm very okay. Thank you very much, Anna, Sarah.
Marvellous.
To bring some less baldness.
That's a relief. Welcome, Johnny. Are you well, my friend?
Very well, thanks, John.
Good
busy
man.
week for all of us.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute because it has been a busy week. Sam, you've been doing battle with certain people. We'll talk about that again in a second. Indeed. And Sarah, fabulous chair. Are you on Big Brother by any chance?
Yeah, I've got my evil cat, like James Bond.
Anyway,
the cat's evil or you're evil?
Both.
Let's not talk about Sarah's evil cat. Let's grab a cuppa and plug into what's been happening in zero emission transport this week. And coming up, Transport and Energy and Fully Charged have announced a trade media partnership. We'll be talking live to Claire Cullen in just a second. Kent County Council, that's Kent County Council, are set to roll out 28 electric buses in a 15-year deal. SSE and CCR Energy agree a strategic partnership to transform a coal-fired power station into a green energy hub. Vital EV and Spiri join forces to help electrify the truck sector, and the search is on for the Barbara Cox Woman of the Year Award 2024. Now, we've alluded to how busy this week has been, and for one of us in particular, it's been a bit of a week because the EV Cafe office got a call from GB News, and they wanted one of us to appear on Tuesday evening talking about electric vehicles. And, well, let's be honest, we could only send the remarkable Sam Clark, world record holder, and he gave a right good education to the presenter, Nigel Farage. Sam, that was an amazing performance, my friend. You smiled and were patient.
Yes, I probably should do that more here, shouldn't I? Really, but yeah, slightly different setting, I suppose. It's been exhausting actually after that, but in a good way, in a positive way, because the messages and the comments have been in the thousands now. It's ridiculous. But it was a real pleasure and a privilege to go toe to toe with someone like that. Whether you love or you hate Mr. Farage, he has his opinions on a very large stick, and he's not afraid to give it. But he also took it for once, so it was quite nice that we were able to give a bit of grounding to the debate, and actually he sort of absorbed some of the things I was trying to articulate. And watching it back, there's lots I would have liked to have done differently. But it's quite a pressurized environment, if I'm honest. But it was good fun. It was good fun, and it's nice to breach those church walls and go down to the depths of hell and try and speak to the Daily Mail style readers, viewers, and try and fight our corner in places that we ought to be, right? We need to be in these places and just give a not ram EVs down people's throats, because I could have lost the plot very easily many times in that interview, as you all watched, but I don't think that was the right strategy. And hopefully, if I converted just a few people, even just to think about it in a different way, then I guess that's a win, isn't it?
Absolutely. Jennifer Smith from Schneider Electric, our bronze sponsor, she said Sam was amazing. Can't argue with that. And Sam went on to be amazing again, also with Johnny, as they picked up awards at the Fleet News Awards on Wednesday night, as did the AA with 2 wins. Iveco and Europcar were highly commended. Absolutely fabulous night on Wednesday night at the Fleet News Awards. But should we crack on with the news? Not that wasn't news, if you know what I mean.
Cool news.
Other news. A new partnership between Transport and Energy and Fully Charged has been announced, which includes the Fully Charged show Everything Electric and the Stop Burning Stuff initiative. Fully Charged exists, like us, to educate, encourage and explain that almost all energy that the world demands can and should come from clean sources like solar, wind and energy storage. In short, is to inspire people to stop burning stuff. And we're lucky enough to be joined by Claire Cullen from the Stop Burning Stuff campaign. You're the head, Claire, and you set up this relationship with Transport and Energy. Thank you so much for joining us at fairly short notice. This is really, really important, isn't it? This collaboration between what you're doing and what Alec Peachy is doing at Transport and Energy. Talk to us about it.
Absolutely. So from a Stop Burning Stuff point of view, it's really important to gain those kind of network collaborations within the sector. We're all working towards the same thing. We all want to accelerate the transition towards electrification, clean energy, EVs, and it just seemed very logical to make sure that those partnerships are really working in the same direction. We're working in the same direction. So this collaboration made a lot of sense for us.
Yeah, I think somebody just said it's a powerful collaboration, and they're right. It is a powerful collaboration, and it needs to be. If you said 3 years ago that Everything Electric or Fully Charged and Transport and Energy, well, it didn't even exist, and the EV Café, few had heard of us, would be coming together because we recognise that the mission to accelerate the transition to clean fuels, clean energy, is far more important than our narrow commercial interests.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there are bigger forces out there who are against what we're doing. And I think that's the only way that we'll stand a chance, really, of making this happen. We have to work together. So, it's great. Transport and Energy have some amazing connections. They work really closely with local authorities. And I think that's an audience that we really need to get on board with all that's happening. So it's going to be really interesting times ahead.
Claire, may the clean force be with you and us all. Thank you so much for joining us. And
Thanks,
we'll
Claire.
see you soon, probably Everything Electric, 28th to 30th at the XL in London.
Absolutely. We'll be there. We'll have a Stop Burning Stuff stand, and we'll be doing expert Q&As. So if there's anybody in the sector that wants to come and join and share their knowledge, we're all for that. So, do get in touch.
Thank you so much.
John,
Paul.
It's worth saying that we have some tickets that we can give away to anybody for the full 3 days of the event. So message us and we can supply you as the EV Cafe. We're going to be there as the EV Cafe Village and with a number of our key partners and other interested parties. It's going to be exciting. Of course, there'll be a commercial vehicle zone there. But you can have free tickets if you just get in touch with us. Ticket for all 3 days.
Yeah, come and join us.
And I would do that at hello@evcafe.org. Send an email there and we'll see if we can sort you out with those tickets. Claire,
But
I know
you
you've
have
got
to be subscribed to our newsletter and following our LinkedIn and Fully Charged, of course.
And we will check.
And Stop Burning Stuff.
And we will check. Goodness gracious, that's a lot of things to do before you can get your tickets. Anywho, Claire, thank you so much for joining us. I know you've got things you need to get done. Hope your daughter's well.
Thank you.
We'll see you again soon.
For the invite. Thank you.
Not
Thanks,
at all.
Claire.
Bless you. Shall we do some shout outs? Yeah, come on then. Right. Carl Elliott was first one through the door, smashed the doors in at 9:56. Darren Anvona at 9:59. The EV Beano, oh bless him, on the M40 in the services. Kirsty Robinson from Stuart Signs. Ashley Bannister, Jamie Fretwell, love him, hug him, squeeze him in his massive truck. Tom Middleditch from Europe Car, Ursula Perry, Laura Huswick, Welks, Pam Anlon, Sarah Gray. Oh, running out of puff. Mark Main, Jim Blair, Russ Morgan, Alicia Scully. Nice name, Alicia. Like it. Sarah, whatever. Slowman. Lloyd Allen from Bristol. Sarah Slowman again. Jennifer Smith. We've already mentioned you, Jennifer. Let's see. Martin Sweeney. Do you remember the Sweeney? They were awesome, weren't they? Do you remember? Oh, I love the Sweeney. You're probably all too
Sorry I
young.
missed you, Martin. Sorry I missed you.
Shane Rees, Esther Jones from the AA, Toby Hiles. Oh dear, what's wrong with me today? Don't answer that. Answers on a postcard. Right, shall we meet Matt Jackson? Hello, Matt, from the Scottish Futures Trust, and Ben McDonald. Hello, all of you. You'll all be interested in this next story, hopefully. A fleet of 28 fully electric buses will replace existing diesel-powered vehicles on a route that covers Dartford and Gravesham after Kent County Council signed, and this is the important bit, a 15-year contract to continue the Kent Thameside FasTrack service. The all-electric service will be up and running within the next year, with on-street electric vehicle charge points for buses to be provided by VEV. Iritzar will manufacture the chosen IE tram buses, which will be operated by Go Ahead London on a day-to-day basis. The 15-year contract will mean that the service can provide a reliable connection for people in North Kent, connecting communities and helping to keep Kent moving, whilst promoting public transport as a more sustainable form of travel. Sarah, the transport hierarchy, it's never been more important. And lots of us talk about electrification of vehicles, but we kind of forget the congestion piece because that's a bit difficult. This kind of long-term commitment investment is critical to move people away from using single occupancy vehicles.
Yeah, it made national news just this week about the economic benefits of utilising public transport, not least of all for those who don't have access to employment. So the way they've deployed this bus service should connect where people are actually living versus where they're actually working and avoid congestion or clean air problems.
I'm wondering, Johnny, could you just define for Sam what a bus is, please?
Yeah.
It's a chauffeur-driven vessel. You must like it. As a driver, they greet you, you get on, you take your seat, it costs a couple of quid, it's brilliant.
It's
But
very
then
different
somebody
to what we
else
used to,
gets on and Sam goes, ooh.
Oh,
How did
people.
you get into my vehicle?
I've got the in-betweeners tagline.
Yeah, I know.
I won't
Bus
say it.
people.
Indeed.
It's already so what I'm thinking of.
But John, I think it's really important to say, isn't it? Of course, you wait for ages and then 28 come along at once.
Oh,
Had to be
dear.
said.
Good
I am very
grief.
interested to know, though, we know from our Netherlands friends that when the buses are out during the day, it's a very predictable, very planned, very rigid route. There's never any surprises. So that frees up the infrastructure massively for other people to utilise. And even yesterday, we were talking about the sort of technicality, yes, but also the practicality of enabling bookings for this sort of behaviour. With set fleet, private fleet, they become almost part of your ecosystem. As I say, no surprises. I call it behind the fence. And actually, Toby is here from Grid. Not National Grid, Toby Haas, and they've got a working platform for these behind the fence booking stuff. I saw that there's a news article that got shared in Decade of Doing yesterday. Congrats.
There is some really great stuff, and I think it's already happening in Glasgow, isn't it? I think it's Glasgow that opened their site up for. There's a couple of partnerships going on that have been announced over the last recent years, where the infrastructure's gone in for the buses at one central point, and then throughout the day people are able to utilise them, with the booking platforms. And I think Toby's got one. There's Ivata. There's a few others out there now beginning to facilitate this and make it real and easy to do, which is great.
Yeah, Paul, we've been doing it at the Braintree Electric Forecourt for 2 years now, with a fleet of electric minibuses that you can call on demand in the local area where the routes aren't. So, it's been quietly going about its business and building for 2 years. So it's happening everywhere. It's great to see.
Yeah.
May I suggest that we do some roving reporting in the future? As I'd love to hear more about how this is all coming together. Energy delivered, pantograph technology, what other things are at play, like grid flexibility and local communities, and the list goes on.
We're lucky enough. Well, I was just about to say we're lucky enough to have somebody who's involved with the EHGV project, and of course buses are a heavy vehicle, so I wonder if we almost have somebody who should be riding around on buses, Sam, at all. Just no?
Stick him on the back of a truck. I think that's better.
Stick him on the back of a train.
The amount of people that want to do the EV rally, perhaps we can get a bus to do the EV rally and take them all along with
That's
us.
kind of cool.
Yeah, sounds like a volunteer there. Sounds like you want to do it, Johnny. Right, interesting. Ben McDonald says the bus network in London is amazing. Steve Hamer, 2 messages away. I had to get a bus this week. It was late, it was dirty, it was expensive. It is all about the customer experience, isn't it? And that's part of the challenge, is making it feel like you're special, because it can be a really, really good, cost-effective way of getting around. Right, let's move on. Energy infrastructure company SSE Energy Solutions has signed an agreement with CCR Energy to explore innovative energy solutions for the old Aberthaw coal-powered plant in South Wales. CCR City Deal purchased the plant in 2022 and created CCR Energy to demolish, clear and remediate the site in readiness for redevelopment into an exemplar for secure green energy production in the region, with the potential to create thousands of jobs. SSE believes the project presents a unique opportunity to integrate peripheral assets and explore traditional and disruptive technologies, and aligns perfectly with their commitment to decarbonise energy, heat and transport. They got to stop burning stuff. It's the right thing to do, but it is innovative. And Paul, we do need that level of innovation and ideas, and then commitment to get change to happen.
We absolutely do, and innovation is the lens which we've got to look through, I think, because we address all of this transition to zero emission with, or many look at the eyes of what we can see today, but there are many things coming to help in all kinds of ways, and this is one of those innovations that makes a real difference, and if we can just get the optimism that looks with innovation, then we can begin to be a bit more hopeful, get a more positive mindset in the general population. And we even got, well, I say we, Sam even got Nigel Farage to say, yet to be convinced. And that's what we've got to do. Look through the eyes of innovation, and then maybe even Nigel will trade in his very heavy XC60 for less heavy Tesla Model 3, maybe, or something.
Right. Let's see. But he's now got a new bestie, of course, which is nice.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I wish I'd known at the time. I wish I'd known that his car weighed the same as mine. I just wish I'd known. But the benefit of hindsight.
I don't know how you didn't know that. It's so it went that.
I was
like,
screaming
wow.
at the screen.
Yeah, me. I was screaming
really
too. But John, if I may just hop in. Well, 2 things. Number one, doesn't Nigel Farage live in Kent? So he's going to love those electric buses. That would be worth a rematch when those happen. And 2, about these green energy hub things. We know that demonstrating technology is one thing. Science Museum's done it for years. Get the people in, look and see and feel and touch and hear. Every last sense get used and understand the technology that's offered. But a lot of these green energy hubs have always welcomed visitors. Number one, because least of all people are skeptical about them. They assume that there's something dodgy going on behind the scenes. So I'm all for this. I smell road trip.
Ron Godfrey, Evie Bino, just reminded me of a song from the 80s. We're only making plans for Nigel. In the comments, what plans would you make for Nigel, and where would you send him in an electric vehicle? Let's move on.
To the Green Energy Hub, I think. That's where we'll go together.
Sarah, you win the internet for today. Vital EV has joined forces with Danish software provider Spiri, who just happened to be one of our sponsors, to accelerate the electrification of the truck sector by allowing fleet managers to open up their charging network through the Oculus Charge Management Portal, which is kind of what Sarah was alluding to earlier, having an infrastructure and being able to use software to be able to open that up for public and other users. By opening their charges up to the public, truck operators reduce the financial burden of their charging infrastructure by enabling the alternative revenue stream to be generated, while the industry as a whole benefits from a greater number of HGV accessible public charging points. Software is the key to opening up lots of functionality. Sam, as we mentioned earlier, eHGV is very close to your heart. Is this sort of initiative going to be really important for driving forward not just eHGV, but other vehicles as well, like the van sector and so on?
The simple answer is yes, it will, and things will evolve over time. I mean, the HGV sector is in its infancy, and I would need several days to articulate how complicated the process currently is in terms of trying to set these things up. It's a hell of an undertaking at this present time, but at the same time, these innovative, creative ways of working out how smart technology and software can help merge different use cases, I think is very, very important. I was presenting at an event, Sustainability Live, the other week, and the question from the audience came about, well, how do buses interact with the trucks in regards to sharing those resources and time? And it's not an obvious thing. It's not as simple as you may think. But at the same time, if there are methodologies by which that dwell time can be exhausted by virtue of different things using that network at different times, then great, but it's not a one size fits all. There's even in the trucking world, mixing cars and trucks together is not a good idea, not for health and safety, for security reasons. There are a myriad of ways in which these things don't actually go together, but there will be niches, and they'll grow niches. There'll be niches that will grow and grow and grow where there is the ability to harmonize some of these different use cases. So yeah, it's the beginning of a new world, and I'm all for it.
And Paul?
Yeah, I was just going to follow on from what Sam was saying there, because what we're seeing is utilization is critical, right? And so if you can kind of stack up the utilization, I was at Welsh's Transport, who are doing this kind of thing, very similar with software in the background, much like the Spiri and the Vital partnership. And if you can get the good chargers into a bay that can be continually used, a good maintenance program, all of that kind of stuff, then these places can be hubs like charge points, but just behind the wire and bookable and all of those kinds of things, because it makes then sense for both the person that installs the charge points in the first place, at some expense, let's be honest, but then they get that utilization, they're able to make a little margin, and that brings money back in, but also keeps everybody operative, because the critical thing here is efficiency and utilization of the vehicles, because that's where the money is being made, and the margins are tight enough. We can't afford to squeeze those margins, and that's where they can do it.
Johnny, in the real world where you work in terms of leasing and getting vehicles out into fleets, are you seeing the sharing of infrastructure across businesses? So not across sites, because a business having multiple sites is nothing new, but are you seeing that one fleet is sharing with other fleets to make the best use of that infrastructure?
We're seeing the mindset change a little bit now towards how they approach the infrastructure. So very much considering this, because obviously if they are able, as Paul quite rightly says, increase utilization, they can see that revenue and therefore make it a little bit more commercially viable. So they are very much considering this when they're looking at the design of their infrastructure, particularly in a workplace environment, because maybe they might be better off getting DC chargers if they think they're going to support a local taxi or car club or some private networks or private fleets or anything like that. So having that into the conversation, we're seeing that more and more often. It is also worth noting that from January, the Association of Fleet Professionals are really leading on these conversations with some of the biggest fleets in the UK. So we're hoping that in conjunction with companies like Spiri and Vital and Ivata, like Paul mentioned, Power, EO launched something this week. We're going to see some actual people being able to facilitate this and being able to address those that need the chargers and those that have got lots of chargers in the right locations. So, but it is really important because it is a significant, it's a really important answer for fleets, or one of the answers for fleets, for sure.
I suppose that's
I was just going to say, just quick line. Sam and Johnny both have alluded to the fact that there's no one solution, that there are a number of solutions. There's no silver bullet. And I've been using the analogy, there's no silver bullet, there is silver buckshot. Lots and lots of bits flying out to answer the questions and punch a hole in the challenge. And that's what I think that we're getting here, is just these are one of, and there are some bigger solutions and there are some smaller solutions. Each play their part and each are critical to the sector that they serve.
What's really interesting, Matt Jackson's just made a very interesting comment from the Scottish Futures Trust, and he's saying the sharing of infrastructure is key in Scotland. There's very little public funding available now. Therefore, we need to be smart about how we deploy and share. The question is, who's best to coordinate that? Is that a business-to-business, relationship by relationship in a locality, or do we need a more strategic approach to the sharing of infrastructure? Any thoughts?
I think it's from my point of view, it's a use case by case basis, because I think it is more B2B probably in terms of the commercial arrangements that are created for these resources and how best to share them. But in every context, in every example, that it'll be a different use case. So I don't think there's one size fits all for that to answer that question. To be honest, I think it's a collaboration between the right parties at the right time, at the right place, with the right charger, and all that stuff. There is no one size fits all for this.
Okay, thank you. Now, I was just about to talk about the wonderful Barbara Cox Woman of the Year award for 2024 with the existing Woman of the Year, and she cleared off. Come back, Sarah. Anyway, nominations are open for the Cox's Automotive's prestigious Barbara Cox Woman of the Year Award 2024, honouring inspirational women in European automotive. Named after the late Barbara Cox, a former director of Cox Enterprise, Cox Automotive's parent company in the USA, the award recognises and rewards women who demonstrate a commitment to innovation, leadership and community within the sector. Submitted nominations are invited for any woman working within the European automotive industry, and they're welcome until the closing date of Friday, April the 26th. It's really important that we do something about this. We did it last year and we all came together and said, come on people, we have somebody, Sarah Slowman, who is absolutely wonderful at all she does. Thank you for joining us, Sarah, popping in, Your Royal Highness. We were just talking about you. It's absolutely critical that we find the new Woman of the Year 2024 who can live up and fill Sarah's shoes. It ain't going to be easy, but within our audience here, we've got some incredible women who do amazing work. If you know of somebody that you would like to put forward for this nomination, the address is womenwithdrive.co.uk/nominate-here. And I'll put this onto our LinkedIn page later today. womenwithdrive.co.uk/nominate-here. The winner will be chosen by a judging panel, including the past winners, Sarah, and announced at a special event on Wednesday, June the 5th. Let's make the very best use of our footprint to acknowledge the brilliance of the women in our industry. If you had to nominate a woman off the top of your head in our industry, who would it be? Paul?
Fiona Howarth.
Oh, Johnny?
Oh, come back to me.
No.
Laura Huswick Wilkes, because she's commented on our posts.
Good work. Sam?
I'll go Linda Grave.
Do you know, that's a really, really
great
good
shout.
shout. That is a really good shout. And I would say Sarah Gray. I think she's utterly inspirational. Love Sarah. Anyway, there we are. Good. Sarah, are you able to comment?
Not really, no. Although I would say it will be easy to fill those, quite right, Darren, orange shoes, because the whole network is set up to support and guide and nourish and flourish. That's the whole point. So it's about making sure whoever you nominate isn't going to feel like a rabbit in headlights, isn't going to have a huge burden to do more. It's about recognizing what's already been done and inspiring others to continue to do. So it's going to be quite an interesting few months ahead. I'm really looking forward to seeing who comes forward, and I'm ever so grateful to the EV Café to help to disseminate the story, the communication around the bursary, which we've now fully allocated. More on that to follow. But it's worth saying that on the International Women's Day, where it was hashtag Inspire Inclusion for this year's sort of efforts, we watched back the moment where this year's was announced, and we had all of the 6 finalists were pledging together to do more. So even if you are the winner of 2024, I personally will certainly be looking for somebody that puts collaboration at the heart of everything they want to do.
Yeah, and interesting couple of comments. I'm going to pick them up. Ashley Bannister says Kate Coyle or Tyrrell, her professional name. And Laura Holloway says Linda Grave. Yes.
Linda Grave, yeah, of course.
It's
Let's
a
get
shout, isn't it? Now,
Yeah.
Sam, you spent a bit of time with Linda on the EV Rally last year. Is she really as fabulous as she seems?
Well, we had a nickname for her by the time we finished the rally, which was Red Light Linda. And if she's
Not like that. Not like
if
that.
she's listening right now, she's going to kill me. but she's now in my
Clarify
phone
quickly.
Yeah, she's now on my
Clarify
phone
red
as
light
Red Light
Linda.
Linda, and will be forever.
It's not
but
getting
yeah,
it. It's absolutely not
yeah.
understanding the point.
we had an amazing time, and she is a phenomenal woman. But yeah, every single traffic light we seem to meet, she seemed to.
Oh,
turn
finally, finally we get to traffic
No, I
lights.
wanted to drag it out. It was far more fun to drag it out. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
Can we just say, Martin Sweeney, possibly the most urgent issue facing our particular industry, too few women. We're craving new ideas and outlook, more women in big jobs. There are transferable skills here, people. Let's make it happen. Let's make this industry the most attractive to work in for our senior leaders. But some great shouts there for today. Thank you kindly. If you've got any clean transport PR or news stories you'd like us to cover, please send them to us at hello@evcafe.org. And don't forget your Everything Electric tickets may be available if you follow the rules. Until next Friday, it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from the whole team.
I know. Amazing.
Woohoo!
Ben McDonald says he's thrown in Claire Miller. That's a bit
Yeah,
rude.
good shout.
This has been an EV Cafe production brought to you this week in partnership with Everything Electric, coming from the London XL from the 28th to 30th of March, featuring the EV Cafe Village. Other sustainability news services are available, but this is just fun.
Oh, the arms, Johnny. Johnny, don't forget the arms. You got to put your arms up. I always get told off.
Poor show, Johnny. We'll have to get you on a training course. The EV Cafe
Dinosaur.
is truly blessed to be partnered with the AA, Webfleet, Europe Car, Plug Me In, Paythrough, Iveco, Zaptec, Spiri, Hydrock, Interval, Dynamon, and McIntyre Hudson. We're the EV Cafe, supporting the transition to clean transport. Enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend wherever it takes you. Until next Friday. Oh, are you giving something a polish there, Sam?
Yeah.
At all?
Just cleaning on another ward. That's all.
Okay. How long does it take your butler to do that?
He must have got a day off. He's having to do it himself.
A week. Just a day a week.
Listen, have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you next week. Love you lots. Take care.
Thank you, John.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Toby Hiles, best 30 minutes of